My manager called me too emotional for leadership in front of the entire team. I smiled, thanked him for the feedback, and spent the next 90 days proving him right in every way that mattered. I had been with the company for 6 years. I had built the client retention program from a single spreadsheet into a system that generated roughly 30% of our annual recurring revenue. I had trained 4 people who had since been promoted above me. I had never once missed a deadline, never lost a client, never asked for anything I hadn't already earned twice over. Then, in a quarterly review with 8 colleagues present, my manager, Marcus, looked at me and said that while my numbers were strong, he had concerns about my temperament, that I took things too personally, that leadership required a certain emotional distance he wasn't sure I possessed. He said it the way people say things they've been rehearsing, confident and almost kind, like he was doing me a favor. Nobody in that room said a word. I nodded slowly and said I appreciated his honesty. I meant it in a way he didn't understand yet. That evening, I wrote down everything I personally owned in that office. The client relationships, the documented processes, the institutional knowledge that existed nowhere except in my head and in files saved under my personal login. I made a list. It took 2 hours. The list was long. Then I did something simple. I stopped volunteering. For years, I had functioned as the unofficial infrastructure of that department. I caught errors before they became problems. I answered questions that weren't mine to answer. I covered gaps without being asked because I cared about the outcome. Starting the week after that meeting, I stopped. I did my job. Exactly my job. Nothing more. The first thing to slip was the Henderson account. I had been managing the relationship informally for 8 months because the assigned rep had no rapport with the client. I stopped making those calls. 3 weeks later, Henderson flagged concerns to our VP. Marcus scrambled to contain it and looked to me for context. I told him politely that Henderson wasn't my account and suggested he loop in the assigned rep. He stared at me for a moment. I smiled and went back to my desk. The second thing was the onboarding documentation. I had been updating it quietly every quarter, keeping it accurate, because outdated documentation cost us time during client launches. I stopped updating it. A new client launch in week 5 hit 4 procedural errors in 2 days. Marcus sent a team-wide email about process accountability. I did not respond. By week 8, 2 clients had escalated. One internal project had missed its window, and Marcus had started CCing the VP on threads he previously would have handled himself. The department was running visibly below capacity, and everyone could see it, but no one could identify a single thing I was doing wrong. I was hitting every metric. I was pleasant in every meeting. I was, by every official measure, performing exactly as required. In week 10, Marcus asked if we could speak privately. He said he had been reflecting on the quarterly review, that he thought his framing had been clumsy, that he wanted to talk about a path forward, potentially revisiting the leadership conversation. I let him finish. Then I told him I appreciated that, and I meant it. I also told him I had accepted a director-level offer at another firm, that my last day would be in 2 weeks, and that I was happy to spend that time on a thorough handover document. His expression did the thing faces do when understanding arrives too late. I told him there were no hard feelings, which was true. I hadn't done any of this out of anger. I had done it because I needed him, and anyone watching, to understand the difference between my presence and my absence before I removed one of them permanently. The day I left, 3 clients sent personal emails. 2 colleagues asked if there was any chance I'd reconsider. My VP, who had never once advocated for my promotion, stopped by my desk and said the company was making a mistake. I thanked her, packed my 1 box, and walked out. My first day at the new role, my title was on the door. I didn't take anything too personally. I just paid very close attention.